श्रीयुक्त वृंदावने राधा कृष्ण महर्निशं प्रव्रजतौ जीवार्थदौ जौ मुदा
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
And welcome everyone to the Saturday morning Bhagavad-gītā As It Is reading with His Grace Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu and all of the members of the Srila Prabhupada Disciples Association Hare Krishna Society, which is a wonderful forum for learning about the path back home, back to Godhead, which is the goal of everyone that joins our group and wants to follow the system that Srila Prabhupada gave us when he was personally with us. And he was very clear on this. I was listening to a lecture, Mataji, a very interesting lecture by Srila Prabhupada yesterday, and he was saying that no one should change the statements of Bhagavad-gītā. Statements. That made me think, what is in the context of the statement? Is it simply the verses of the Bhagavad-gītā, the transliteration, the translation, or the purports? And the fact of the matter is that the entire presentation of Bhagavad-gītā, the statements, are all of those things. That everything that's contained within the Bhagavad-gītā as it is cannot be changed by anyone. And then Prabhupada goes on to say, if it's changed, then where is the authority of Bhagavad-gītā? If some third-class man makes a change, well, you can't do that. It's actually even in production of other books or production of movies or in the producing of music and the words, usually the author or the composer does not allow other people to change anything they're doing. And if they do, it comes under very close scrutiny by the originator. So this is, of course, most critical in the presentation of Bhakti Yoga, because Bhakti Yoga is the science of how to get out of the material world through the directions of the Supreme Lord personally, because Kṛṣṇa appeared here personally, and spoke Bhagavad-gītā to his friend and disciple Arjuna. And Srila Prabhupada is the bona fide spiritual master, representative of Krishna, the bona fide representative Acharya from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada as well. So this disciplic succession, this parampara is it is the most important principle in understanding the neophyte's ability to make advancement. There is no other way to do this. It's only by association with the pure devotee of which is Srila Prabhupada. And sometimes people cannot make this connection. They can't. For example, we were reading this week about the glories of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And Prabhupada, as Yaśodā brought up, Nandana Prabhu brought up in the discussion, the description of the Bhagavatam is it's a literary incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in sound. So Prabhupada's presentation of the Bhagavad-gītā As It Is a literary incarnation of Krishna consciousness presented by Krishna and the pure devotee for his disciples to understand. Yes. And this adulteration of the Gita in any shape or form by his disciples is a big mistake. It's not a small thing. As a result, a cancer enters into the publications of the books when they're changed by ambitious people. Yes, the whole thing is based on personal material ambition. That's what the problem is. And until that's corrected, this movement that Prabhupada started, that we describe as ISKCON, has sailed away on a course into the material world, which is deviant. And the people on this boat of so-called knowledge are lost, completely lost. And there's no compromise. You cannot compromise this point. There is no compromise. Anyone that compromises, they're on that ship and they're going nowhere fast. Because Krishna consciousness, the ability to go back to home, back to Godhead, is a very rare opportunity for the minute conditioned soul wandering throughout the universe, through 8,400,000 different species of life. We are insignificant in this world. And by the grace of Lord Chaitanya and his appearance in this Kali Yuga, and the mercy of the bona fide spiritual master A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, we have an opportunity, and this opportunity cannot be manipulated by any other person or individual that is materially motivated for profit, adoration, and distinction. This is tragic. Of course, we're very happy because we have the opportunity in our forum, our Zoom presentations, in our newsletters, in our website, in the publication of the books or unedited books that we're planning to do, to help revive this mission. Yes, that's our goal. We're working on it and it's succeeding. It is succeeding. It's not about quantity, it's about quality. And that quality will reign supreme over all imperfections that are currently going on in that society. I was seeing a lawsuit, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, that some devotees in Australia from the ISKCON group are launching against an independent group. And they're saying they're not going to give anyone permission to use the word Hare Krishna. Oh, it's a private brand. This is absolutely absurd. These people are insane beyond, and it's the current right now, Hare Krishna, that you're going to patent the name of God. You're going to patent the name of Jesus Christ. You're going to patent these transcendental vibrations. No, you've gone insane. We often say that, and it's symptomatic. The symptoms of it are obvious when you hear people speak, when you hear people do these ridiculous things in the name of Krishna. Sectarianism is rampant, and now we have Krishna West, Krishna Life, Krishna. These different groups are all individually incorporated, and the people within those groups are operating as independent people on the mission of trying to support their so-called bogus gurus. So just some thoughts on that. I wanted to announce that we are planning to have a festival in Mexico coming up in February. Yes, we are. And this, it's still we're still in the process of organizing it. And we're working in conjunction with the devotees in Mexico. A very nice devotee. I met with his wife. His name is Kṛṣṇa. And he's planning a wedding ceremony for two couples to be married in the on the principles of Krishna consciousness in a fire sacrifice. And we're also planning an initiation ceremony there. And so, my good friend and godbrother and our godbrother, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, is also planning to attend with Bhakta Ran Singh from Sacramento. And other people are planning to come to this festival. And there's already a list of over 300 people ready to participate. So this festival should be a very exciting opportunity to get association with bona fide disciples of Srila Prabhupada. And this initiation ceremony that we're going to be conducting is a proper initiation for people to become Prabhupada disciples. We're not Ritviks. That is a system that is used to initiate people formally as a Prabhupada disciple so that this movement can carry on after our departure as well with more Prabhupada disciples, not disciples of these so-called deviant people that are accepting the role of Diksha Guru when they have no actual authenticity or qualification. And if anyone is interested in taking initiation at this ceremony in Mexico, we welcome their inquiries with us. Yes, you can get a hold of myself or Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu and discuss about the initiation and what the qualifications are to become initiated as a Prabhupada disciple. We are very interested in adding to the list with bona fide disciples. Yes, bona fide students that are prepared to take up the eternal process of devotional service to Srila Prabhupada according to his directions. This is very important for the serious student, those who are really serious about this process of going back to Godhead have to understand that there is a formal relationship that is established between the disciple and the guru. And Prabhupada does live in his transcendental sound, in his Vani incarnation. And he lives in his Murti. And he is present with his bona fide disciples because they are focused every day on his mission. One last point. Prabhupada was constantly focused on his spiritual master. He didn't care about his God brothers. It wasn't important to him. He cared about his relationship with his spiritual master and his service to his spiritual master. And that is the responsibility of a formal disciple of Srila Prabhupada. Is there an eternal relationship with Srila Prabhupada? Yes, there is. Providing we follow and focus on these principles, that eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord and his bona fide representative can be established in your life. And that is the reality of the process of Krishna consciousness that we are hoping everyone will understand. So if you're interested in initiation, please get a hold of us. We want to talk to you. We're interested in helping people take up this mission as Prabhupada disciples. We are not Ritviks. We're not Prabhupada-nugas. Okay, there's different terms. Largely misunderstood by most people throughout the world, but we are not confused. We are Prabhupada disciples, period. And we proudly present that to other people without any hesitation, without any reluctance, because this is the greatest opportunity that any living entity can have, being born in this Kali Yuga, period. So I wanted, before we go to our reading of the diary, I wanted to also mention we are looking for someone to, or other people, to learn how to become hosts. That means the technology hosts of these programs. We're working constantly to improve them, and we're adding new things on a weekly basis, monthly basis, new sort of insight through the program for our audience. Not only the current audience that's with us here. Yes, we have an audience that's here. That's like a studio audience, like when I went to see Johnny Carson back in 1985 or 86. I was there in the audience. Oh yeah. But that was a small audience because there were millions of people watching his show back then. So in the same way, we have people here live, our panel of devotees that engage in the discussion, and we have other people that are here present that are listening, and we appreciate that. We want more people to be here on the program, of course, but the program is being recorded for posterity, for future generations on a Hare Krishna Society YouTube page, and this will carry on, all things being equal, after we all leave this world. And the truth will be sustained and maintained by this effort of the Hare Krishna Society, Prabhupada Disciples Association. So we have a detailed explanation given to us by Vinkat Bhatta Prabhu how to follow this production program, this system. So if you're interested in learning it and being a participant and taking up the service, we are looking for you to join our efforts. And it will be a great service to the mission of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda. We're going to go to the diaries now. We're going to read them as we have been diligently. We've been reading these for a couple of years, giving us a lot of insight into how great men act. Whatever great man does, common men will follow. The Jaladuta diaries. And people should understand how this great mission unfolded without any question, especially the actual written messages from Srila Prabhupada, or the spoken words of his in regards to the early days of the mission and how it was this great struggle for him. But at the same time, he never gave up his effort, and he succeeded. So we're going to go to the section. We're getting right on this section, Rupesh. Yeah, thank you. Bring it up closer for us so we can all see that. So I'm going to start here again. No, he did not know me. Somebody saw it right there. Slide up there. in Bombay, he is officer. He knows so many things. So it is a great history. There were 2 days I was attacked in heart on the ship. So hardship. So 2 heart attacks. Very difficult times for him, but he overcame them. Then you had a dream, Trivikram said. Prabhupada, And Harisori asked him, what was that, Srila Prabhupada? Prabhupada, that is, he laughs. The dream was, I must come here. So Harisori says to him, it was some instruction that you got. And Prabhupada says the dream was that Krishna in his many forms was bowing the row, what is called, Harisari calls, rowing the boat. Yes, Prabhupada says, Trivikram Jai. So when I arrived in Boston, I wrote that poetry, Harisori. If you were only sponsored for 1 month, how is it that you were able to extend your visa all the time? Prabhupada, I was extending. The immigration officer came in Boston in my boat. He inquired about this, so he asked me, Sir Swamiji, how long you want to stay? I thought that I have no shelter. I have no money, but I've got the return ticket. So I do not know how long I could stay. He says, he laughs. He asked me, how long do you want to stay? So I thought, in these circumstances, I can stay at most 2 months because I have no means where to stay, how to eat, and where shall I go. So I may struggle for 2 months. So I told him I may stay for at most 2 months. It's very interesting here, by the way, that generally, if you have no money and no place to stay, you can't cross through the border in most countries, because that's the first thing they ask you. Where are you going to stay and how are you going to pay for it? We don't want you just wandering on the streets here. But somehow or other, Prabhupada got approval from this immigration officer. He immediately, 2 months sanctioned immediately. So Krishna has got his hand there. I could not think shall be able to. Then 1 month we're there sponsoring, so I thought another 1 month and that's all, and the gentleman has sponsored for 1 month. So that is guaranteed. Then I can stay here and there without any fixity. So I was extending the visa each time. I was paying $10, another 3 months, another 3 months like that. And when 1 year was finished, they refused, no extension. So these were complicated matters. Harisori. But by that time you had some kind of Prabhupada, yes. Organization, Harisori goes, organization going? Prabhupada said, yes, at that time, I was at 2nd Avenue. So then Ray Ram took the help of a lawyer. He took the case and they'll give me a permanent residence. So he was extending only, and each time he was taking $150. So in this way, I entered in 1965, September up to July, up to May, and in the month of May, there was a heart stroke, so that was 67. Do I have another page there, Prabhu? Trivikram, 66, Prabhupada, 66. Yes, 66. Yes, after 1.5 years, Harisori, no, that was 67 then. Prabhupada, because the time was taken extension. Then in 1967, in July, I thought, now the health is broken. I was very sick after heart stroke, so I thought, now I shall not exist. So let me go to Vrindavan and die there. So I came back to July 67. So this Brahmananda and others, they were crying when I got on the boat. The heart was so weak. Pusta Krishna, you went back to India by boat? No, by plane, I think. Pusta Krishna from San Francisco. At that time, Prabhupada says I got some money. 5,000 was given by Jayananda, very famous devotee that also went back to Godhead. He gave me 5,000, and Brahmananda also gave me. So I spent some money for acquiring some. I had about 6,000. So then I purchased a ticket coming back with Kirtananda, and this way came back to India. Hari, sorry, so you were just saying, Prabhupada, and again I paid 5,000 rupees to Kirtananda to come back aside. What is that? Radha Ballava, Kirtiraj Prabhu brought this for your rocking chair. Oh, so it's a little bit of a side thing. Radha Ballava, should I put it on? Prabhupada, rock and roll, devotees laugh. Hari, sorry. So when did you come back again? Prabhupada came back in 67 December. Hari, sorry. Oh, you weren't gone long then. Trivikram, 6 months. Prabhupada, yes, July to December. Trivikram, and your health was better? Prabhupada, not very good. So many troubles. When I came back, there was always a bad sound going on. Gong, gong, gong in my brain. Very disturbing in this Los Angeles. I was staying there, I forgot. Trivikram. La Sinega? No, La Sinega later on. I was staying near Pico. That is Pico. There was, I think, Washington Boulevard near there. I forgot that quarter. So, very interesting information here, everyone. And something for us to all meditate on and understand that life is meant for tapasya. It is not meant for self-aggrandizement or sense gratification. So let's be serious about joining together to spread this mission. We'll move forward with the chanting of Hare Krishna by Srila Prabhupada in the 60s. And this new video produced by our marketing director, Bhaktivedanta in France. So, Hare Krishna. Let's hope he can get it. Rupesh. That's the old one. We'll enjoy this too.
Sai.
Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari Shamad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai, Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivas Adi Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Sri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath Sam Kund Radha Kund Giridham ki jai, Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Navadvip Dham ki jai, Swami Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Ganga Mai ki jai, Jamuna Mai ki jai, Tulasi Devi ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Swami Bhaktivinoda ki jai. All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to the assembled Lord. Thank you very much.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord, Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. From Srimad Bhagavatam 1:1:1. Narayanam namaskritya. Narayanam namaskritya. Naram cheva narottamam. Naram cheva narottamam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayat. Tato Jayam Mudirayat. One should utter the means of conquest, Srimad Bhagavatam and Srimad Bhagavad-gītā, after offering respectful obeisances, 1, to the personality of Godhead Narayana, 2, to the Naranarayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being, 3, to the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, then 4, to Srila Vyasadeva, the author, from Srimad Bhagavatam 1-4. Welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on Srimad Bhagavad-gītā. As we do every week, we will be reading a few selected Sanskrit verses which were introduced by Srila Prabhupada himself in 1966, when he started to lecture in New York on the Bhagavad-gītā. We invite everyone to join with us. Om Ajnanatimmirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Svapadantikam. When will Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who has established within this material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet? Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Scha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahaguna Raghunatan Anvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master and unto the feet of all Vaishnavas. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami, along with his elder brother Sanatana Goswami, as well as Raghunath Dasa and Raghunath Bhatta, Gopala Bhatta, and Srila Jiva Goswami. I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, along with Advaita Acharya, Gadadhar, Srivas, and other associates. I offer my respectful obeisances to Srimati Radharani and Sri Kṛṣṇa, along with their associates Sri Lalita and Vishaka. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpati Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Oh, my dear Krishna, you are the friend of the distressed and the source of creation. You are the master of the gopis and the lover of Radharani. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. I offer my respects to Radharani, whose bodily complexion is like molten gold, and who's the queen of Vrindavana. You are the daughter of King Vrishabhanu, and you are very dear to Lord Krishna. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This week we will be reading from Srimad Bhagavad-gītā, chapter 11, text number 40. All synonyms, translations, and purports by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, Founder-Ācārya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. It should be noted that this reading and discussion is based upon the original, non-edited, non-adulterated version of Bhagavad-gītā, the 1972 Macmillan edition. Namah Purastadata Prishtataste Namostute Sarvata Eva Sarva Ananta Viryamita Vikramastvam Sarvam Sabapnoshi Tatosi Sarvaha Namaha. Offering obeisances. Purastat, from the front. Ata, also. Prishta, from behind. Te, you. Namah astu, offer my respects. Te, unto you. Sarvataha, from all sides. Eva sarva, because you are everything. Anantavirya, Anantavirya, unlimited potency. Amita Vikramaha, unlimited force. Tvam, you. Sarvam, everything. Samapnoshi, cover. Tata asi, therefore you are. Sarvaha, everything. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Obeisances from the front, from behind, and from all sides O unbound power, unbounded power, you are the master of limitless might. You are the all-pervading, and thus you are everything. Purport. Out of loving ecstasy for Krishna, his friend, Arjuna is offering his respects from all sides. He is accepting that he is the master of all potencies, in all prowess, and far superior to all the great warriors assembled on the battlefield. It is said in the Vishnu Purana, Yo yam tavagato teva samipam devata ganaha sattvameva jagat srashtayataha sarabhagato bhavan. Whoever comes before you, be he a demigod, is created by you, O Supreme Personality of Godhead. Om ajnanatimirandasya jnananjana shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Gurave namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhaktivedanta Namine Prasannaya Prashantaya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Bhagavad-vandanam khadyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Kadati Visheshataham Adadhanastrinam Danteridam Yachi Punaha Punaha Srimad Rupa Padam Bhoja Dhulishyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavato Smyaham Sadadaso Asmi Sarvata Tat Kripa Pikshako Nityam Tat Prishta Sat Karomishvam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So today is a very auspicious day. On the Mayapur calendar, it is the disappearance day of Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada and Sri Gauridas Pandit, an associate, a close associate of Lord Chaitanya. Why is it so important? Because Rupa Goswami is considered the chief disciple of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who received personal instruction to present the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu along with his elder brother Sanatan Goswami. He was in Banarasi, in Benares, and he received personal instruction for so many days by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. So Srila Prabhupada presented the original pure teachings of Srila Rupa Goswami in disciplic succession. That's why in the beginning of this reading, we always chant certain Sanskrit mantras, slokas, which basically shows to proper respect to these great personalities. And we see in the second text, Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Tapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Svapadantikam. This means, when will Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who has established within this material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet? Now, this is quite significant because as a Gaudiya Vaishnava, we are followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But the argument is sometimes presented that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not write a commentary on Vedanta Sutra. He did not write a commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam. He wrote very little. He wrote the Shikshastakam. Prabhupada's answer to this point and this concern was simply that the writings of the 6 Goswamis, specifically Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Sanatana Goswami and Jiva Goswami, all the Goswamis, this was the natural purport on the Shikshastakam. It's interesting how in the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, in Madhya Lila, chapter 19, text 121, Madhya Lila of Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 19, text 121, Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami is expressing Priyaswarupe Dayita Swarupe, Premaswarupe Sahaja Birupe, Nija Nurupe Prabhurika Rupe, Tatanurupe Savilasa Rupe. Indeed, Srila Rupa Goswami, whose dear friend was Swarupa Damodar, was the exact replica of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was very, very dear. Very nice, Rupesh. Thank you. He was very, very dear to the Lord. Being the embodiment of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's ecstatic love, Rupa Goswami was naturally very beautiful. He very carefully followed the principles enunciated by the Lord, and he was a competent person to explain properly the pastimes of Lord Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu expended his mercy to Srila Rupa Goswami just so he could render service by writing transcendental literatures. Now, it is quite significant on a day like this, because this is a very important day for us to remember the life and activities of Srila Rupa Goswami. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Prabhupada explains this nicely in several purports, but I'm choosing one in particular. Let me get the exact place here. We can't read the whole purport. We'll read some of it. This is from Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila, chapter 10, text 84. Adi Lila, chapter 10, text 84. And Srila Prabhupada explains, on the western side were the 43rd, 44th, and 45th branches, Sri Sanatana, Sri Rupa, and Anupama. They were the best of all. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Sri Anupama was the father of Srila Jiva Goswami and the youngest brother of Sri Sanatana Goswami and Sri Rupa Goswami. His former name was Vallabha, but after Lord Chaitanya met him, he gave him the name Anupama. Because of working in the Muslim government, these 3 brothers were given the title Mullik. Our personal family is connected with the Mulliks of Mahatma Gandhi Road in Calcutta, and we often used to visit their Radha Govinda temple. They belong to the same family as we do. Our family Gotra, or original genealogical line, is the Gautama Gotra, or line of disciple of Gautama Muni, and our surname is De. But due to their accepting the post of zamindars in the Muslim government, they received the title Mullik. Similarly, Rup, Sanata, and Vallabha were also given the title Mullik. Mullik means Lord. Just as the English government gives rich and respectable persons the title Lord, so the Muslims give the title Mullik to rich, respectable families, that have intimate connections with the government. The title Mullik is found not only among the Hindu aristocracy, but also among Muslims. This title is not restricted to a particular family, but is given to different families and castes. The qualifications for receiving it are wealth and respectability. Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami belong to the Bharadvaja Gotra, which indicates that they belong either to the family or disciplic succession of Bharadvaja Muni. As members of the Krishna Consciousness movement, we belong to the family or disciplic succession of Saraswati Goswami, and thus we are known as Saraswatas. Obeisances are therefore offered to the spiritual master as Saraswata Deva, or a member of the Saraswata family, Namaste Saraswati Deve, whose mission is to broadcast the cult of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Gauravani Pracharini, and to fight with impersonalists and voidists, Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. This was also the occupational duty of Sanatana Goswami, Rupa Goswami, and Anupam Goswami. So this is quite significant, where Prabhupada is explaining here the actual meaning of that prayer that we recite every day, Namaste Saraswati Deve, Gauravani Pracharine, Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. In other words, this is the same mission that Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami and Anupam Goswami carried for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It is not a different mission. This is very important to understand. Just like today, Vishwakarma Prabhu was presenting that the Bhagavad-gītā, everything has so many different meanings and so many very important points that are being made by Srila Prabhupada. And this is all based on the original teachings of Rupa Goswami. No one should ever think that Srila Prabhupada did not give all the necessary spiritual knowledge for going back home, back to Godhead. Some less intelligent, motivated people spread a foolish notion after Prabhupada departed that Prabhupada taught the basic fundamentals and that they were going to teach the higher levels of bhakti, the higher secretive Ragamarg bhakti. This is simply a nonsense proposition. Those who are familiar with, who have carefully read and studied Srila Prabhupada's teachings in his books, knows that he has given everything. Simply one has to submit his hearing process to carefully listen to the Acharya, to study the writings of the Acharya. Because what Prabhupada has presented is not difficult to understand. It only becomes difficult to understand when personal motivation comes in. In July of 1970 in Los Angeles, Prabhupada wrote a very important letter. Prabhupada said, as soon as personal motivation comes in, it is not possible to understand our Krishna consciousness philosophy. Interestingly, yesterday, Joe Felici and his good wife, Karen Felici, sent me a text on WhatsApp saying that we should bring this up. It's a very quick lecture on YouTube from Srila Prabhupada, where he explains the real purpose of the Bhagavad-gītā. And it's actually very wonderful. And basically, it's a very, very nice presentation, a summary presentation by Srila Prabhupada of the real intent and purpose of the Srimad Bhagavad-gītā. Very important. So that is why, because it is a principle that one should offer proper respects to all Vaishnavas, whether advanced Vaishnava or middle Vaishnava or beginning Vaishnava, it doesn't matter what level. one should offer proper respect, especially for those Vaishnavas who have dedicated themselves to preach the original mission and the original message of Srila Prabhupada, the foremost representative of Rupa Goswami. Because what we see now is many people are caught up in the 3 Ps. Somebody asked me recently, what are the 3 Ps? Posing, posturing, and pretending. That some people think if they can posture some way or other, this will give them a position of being so-called advanced, and they'll be able to get some name and fame and money. No, this is not what Rupa Goswami taught. This is not what Srila Prabhupada taught. That is why the Prabhupada Disciples Association, Hare Krishna Society, is very busy trying to republish the original 1962 Srimad Bhagavatam, the Delhi Bhagavatam. And we appreciate the service of all the devotees, Bhakta Ran Singh, Krishna Katha, and Bhakta Jad, Bhakta Venkat Bhakta Prabhu, so many devotees that are helping towards this mission and this effort to preach the message and to reestablish Prabhupada's original book. We greatly appreciate all of your work, and anybody who comes to this hearing and discussion. This is very important. We appreciate your help. We appreciate your effort. We appreciate your participation, every one of you. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, glories to Srila Prabhupada. And that's true, we do very much appreciate everyone's effort in these matters, because it is those people that understand this philosophy, who are very few and far between, are getting the blessings of Lord Krishna and Srila Prabhupada because of their commitment to this process. Because we have a very amazing disciplic succession. We do. And today's presentation, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu spoke about the glories of Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, and the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, who were key to the propagation of Krishna consciousness during the time of Lord Chaitanya and after. And these great devotees are part of a parampara that demonstrated real renunciation. You were discussing about posturing and posing or pretending, Prabhu, in your talk, the 3 Ps. Another way to look at it is acting. People act on the stage of life. They pretend. They're not really committed to the process, but they are pretending to be committed to the process. They're imitating Lord Chaitanya. They're imitating other gurus in our disciplic succession. They're pretending or acting the role. So our parampara is a very amazing opportunity for every one of us to embrace without adulteration. And this is the message that we're giving to everyone, all of us, to follow Srila Prabhupada as the bona fide guru, representative of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada. And there are lots of people that used to be members of our movement who have now taken up the mission of the Gaudiya Math. They've actually left the ISKCON group or Prabhupada's group, and they went to the Gaudiya Math for a variety of reasons. Despite the fact that Sridhar Swami Prabhupada pointed out was a form, he admitted it, was a form breaker, not a form maker. And this movement that has come out has taken instructions, this new movement of ISKCON has taken instructions from Sridhar Swami, and in this way, this movement has become broken through that association. So we should very carefully study the books and carefully see the message that Prabhupada, everyone, is giving us in his purports, which are non-different than the words from Krishna, because the pure devotee of the Lord and the Lord are non-different. It's the same message. And even the mercy of the spiritual master is so wonderful, Nilesh, because it helps fill in all the, let's say, information that we don't have, especially us from the West. We don't have, due to our upbringing. Prabhupada summarizes it all so clearly. So there's no difference between his words and the words of Krishna. It's the same. And I wanted to go to text 2 of the Bhagavad-gītā As It Is. I came across chapter 10, came across a very interesting section that I thought I would share with us this morning in this discussion and reading. Text 2. Thank you, Prabhu. Nabe Vedu Suragana Pravavanam Na Mahar Saya Ahamadir Hi Devanam Maharashi Nam Chasarvashaha. Translation. Neither the host of demigods nor the sages know my origin, for in every respect I am the source of the demigods and the sages. We're going to go down to the first paragraph after the second paragraph, I should say, apologize. Here the Lord indirectly says that if anyone wants to know the absolute truth, here I am present as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I am the Supreme. One should know this. Who is God? That's the point. Although one cannot understand the inconceivable Lord, yes, that's impossible for us, who is personally present, he nonetheless exists. We can actually understand Krishna, who is eternal, full of knowledge and bliss, simply by studying the words in Bhagavad-gītā As It Is and Srimad Bhagavatam. The impersonal Brahman cannot be conceived by persons who are already in the inferior energy of the Lord, but the personality of Godhead cannot be conceived unless one is in the transcendental position. Okay, so just referring back to we're going to keep reading this, by the way, Sarasvata, that Prabhupada was mentioning that we are against the Mayavadi explanation of this philosophy. We're going to go back to the purport, Prabhu, please. Because most men cannot understand Krishna in his actual situation. Out of his causeless mercy, he descends to show favor to such speculations. I don't know where you are. Keep going, slide down there a bit more. Yeah, okay. Yet, despite the Supreme Lord's uncommon activities, these speculators, due to the contamination in the material energy, still think that the impersonal Brahman is the supreme. Only the devotees who are fully surrendered unto the Supreme Lord can understand by the grace of the Supreme Lord that he is Krishna. The devotees do not bother about the impersonal Brahman conception of God. Their faith and devotion bring them to surrender immediately unto the Supreme Lord, and out of the causeless mercy, they can understand Krishna. No one can understand him. So even the great sages agree, what is Atma? What is the Supreme? It is he whom we have to worship. Now, Rupesh, I want us to go over to text 3 And we're going to go directly to the purport in text 3. This is critical to the understanding of this. Anything under the direction of Krishna is transcendental. It cannot be contaminated by material reactions, which may be auspicious or inauspicious. The conception that there are things auspicious and inauspicious in the material world is more or less a mental concoction, because there is nothing auspicious in the material world. Everything is inauspicious because the very material mask is inauspicious. We simply imagine it to be auspicious. Real auspiciousness depends on activities in Krishna consciousness in full devotion and service. Therefore, if we at all want our activities to be auspicious, then we should work under the direction of the Supreme Lord. Such directions are given in authoritative scriptures such as Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad-gītā, or from, now here it is critical, everyone, please note this, and this is just right in the Bhagavad-gītā here in the purport, from a bona fide spiritual master, because the spiritual master is the representative of the Supreme Lord. His direction is directly the direction of the Supreme Lord. So people that say that Prabhupada is not with us, they are absolutely 100% correct. The spiritual master, saintly persons, and scriptures direct in the same way. There are no contradictions in the three sources. All actions done under such directions are free from the reactions of pious or impious activities of this material world. The transcendental attitude of the devotee in the performance of activities is actually that of renunciation, and this is called sannyas. So it's mentality, sannyas mentality. Anyone acting under the direction of the Supreme Lord is actually a sannyas and a yogi, and not the man who has simply taken the dress of the sannyasi or pseudo-yogi. So this is a process based on surrender, practice, and then from within the heart, realization will come. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu further explain to us this transcendental message.
Very important points which are being raised. I'm going to keep this very brief, being that it is the disappearance day of Srila Rupa Goswami. I want to read another beautiful verse that was composed by Raghunath Das Goswami in a book called Sri Mukta Charita. In Sanskrit, it says, Adadana strinam danter idam yachi punaha punaha Srimad Rupa Param Bhoja Dhurishyam Janma Janmani. Clasping a straw between my teeth, I repeatedly begged to attain the dust of the lotus feet of Srimad Rupa Goswami, birth after birth. We'll leave it to a more notable speaker to speak. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Yes, we are insignificant in this universe, and this opportunity is a golden one to take up the process of devotional service under the directions of Srila Prabhupada. We have Puranjana Prabhu in California. We're going to bring on Nilesh as well and a few other God brothers to continue the readings and discussions. Puranjana Prabhu, your comments.
Haribo, can you hear me?
Yes, we can,
yeah.
sir.
Yeah, I just found an interesting thing, a bunch of legal documents that were filed in New Zealand and Australia by ISKCON some years ago, 5-6 years ago, where they're copywriting Hare Krishna. So it just shows how they think they own even the name of Krishna, which is pretty ridiculous. But Prabhupada actually made a statement that Hare Krishna cannot be copyrighted. But it just shows the ignorance, the level of ignorance that some people are in. They actually believe they own the name of Krishna, which is just pretty ridiculous. But anyway, this there's a person who's objecting to that in the legal system down there, and he's based in Australia. So I'm going to help him out. But I just wanted to point that out, that this shows the level of delusion that can happen with quote unquote devotees. They, can come to this point where they they think they own the Hare Krishna religion, they own ISKCON, they own Prabhupada, they own Krishna. Well, that's we are not the proprietor of our socks. Never mind Krishna. We're not the proprietor. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that that we're working on that, and if people can find different quotes that would help me out with this, they can send them to me, and we'll forward them on to these people over there just to help them out. So that's basically. And there's also one other thing I wanted to say. There's a disciple of a guru, and he said, "I understand you have some question about my guru." And I said, "Well, yeah, this, that, and the other." And he says, "Oh, well, send me links to your sites." And so I did that, and he sent me a bunch of clapping hands. So I think he's happy to see what I'm saying. So one by one, brick by brick, we're working on it. And that's all I want to say today, Haribo.
Thank you very much. Yes, it's true. We often say this, that the ship has left the harbor and it's drifted out into the ocean of material existence, this ISKCON boat. So what can you do? We're marching forward with the mission of Srila Prabhupada with our group, and it is becoming successful step by step. Nilesh Sharma in Florida. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Jai Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Very interesting discussion today. Just talking about owning Krishna's name. It is such a demoniac tendency that Krishna is Bhoktaram Yagna Tapasam, 529 Bhagavad-gītā, that he is the owner, he's the enjoyer of all sacrifices, and Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, he is the owner of all the planetary systems, and here we are trying to own him. How? Through copywriting. Well, we can own him, but we don't want to do it the way Srila Prabhupada shows us. We want to own him from a materialistic standpoint. So look at the demoniac tendencies here. I wanted to make 3 points today. The first one, Vishwakarma Prabhu, you mentioned about the different types of sects which are there in ISKCON. And I think we need to even point some fingers towards ourselves also, as Prabhupada Anugas, or as Ritviks, or whatever you call yourselves, as Hare Krishnas, or, whatever it is. There are so many different sects within ourselves also. Even though we all agree on one common point, that we need to put Srila Prabhupada in the center. We need to follow Srila Prabhupada's original books. I pray and I wish when we can all come under one banner. And if we were to come under one banner, and yes, we are all struggling, bhaktas also, especially myself, where we have all our fallacies, we still have in the material world. When can we learn to tolerate each other's material afflictions? But I notice that each and every devotee has taken some beautiful concept which has been very attractive to them from Srila Prabhupada, and has nurtured it and has evolved into a very and had several realizations on them. And so when I share these things, when they share this with me, I pick it up. Sure enough, they have other issues also. Each and every devotee, we do have all issues, because we are still in this material world. We are still imperfect. We still have those 4 fallacies that are there. But it is very interesting that if we can just tolerate each other's material afflictions and imbibe from each other whatever realizations they have got from Srila Prabhupada, imagine what this would take to. So let us make sure that we come under one banner. We welcome everybody. We welcome everyone who's interested only on one thing, which is what? That keeping Prabhupada in the center. And talking about today's second point, talking about today's auspicious day about the disappearance of Rupa Goswami, who has been such a close associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. For us, I was talking to Mahatma Prabhu yesterday from Florida, and he talked to me about these books of Jayananda Prabhu. What is Rupa Goswami to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? For us, the modern day example is Jayananda Prabhu. How do we become so dear to Srila Prabhupada? You know, how do we serve Srila Prabhupada? So he told me about these two books, Jayananda Prabhu's books. It is authored by Vishaka Das. So I would love to know if what Yasoda-nandana Prabhu have to say about it. The first book is Beautiful Life of Jayananda Thakur, and the second book is A Day in the Life of Jayananda Thakur. Both have been authored by Vishoka Das. And I was just wondering, and I've ordered that, so I'm going to try to read it. But I would like to know what are the thoughts on that. And then the final one, we were talking about the 3 P's, you know, the 3 negative P's. But I gained from Srila Prabhupada the 3 positive P's. How we can progress in Krishna consciousness together if we all practice these 3 P's: practice, patience, and perseverance. Practice, patience, and perseverance. If we were to have these 3 characteristics, imagine how we would evolve in Krishna consciousness. So I'd love to have your opinion on these points. Hare Krishna.
Haribol. Well, I'll let Yasoda-nandana respond to your specific question in regards to the books on the pastimes of Jayananda, which are very interesting. As far as the unity point, how we can become unified, that's possible when we have a common understanding of Guru Tattva. This Tattvavit, that Prabhupada is living in sound and we are all his servants. Now, there is a lot of confusion amongst many so-called people that have concocted their little groups, Prabhu, or they're on their own. They've got one person doing a talk. That's what they do. They set up a cottage industry for themselves. We've talked about this, Nilesh. There's a lot of independent people that have opinion. Okay, that's fine. Everyone's entitled. We are not Ritviks. That term has been misrepresented by a lot of people out of ISKCON, and they speak with that term in a derogatory fashion. Derogatory. Oh, they're Ritviks. We are not Ritviks. We use a system of Ritvik initiation, representing Srila Prabhupada as his bona fide representatives. We are. Now someone could say, well, you're not. Okay, go away. Just go away. If you don't want to work with us, if you don't want to cooperate with us, if you want to say that everybody is the same, that's fine. You're entitled to that. But we are not. We are different. Many of us had opportunities to associate with Prabhupada that makes us different because we got blessed. Someone could say, well, how can you say that? Well, okay, let's not say it. But obviously, there's no compatibility with us. We are not Prabhupada Nugas. We are Prabhupada disciples. These groups that are in Europe and this and that, yes, there's controversy. And there's philosophical reasons why we don't go with the guy from England, Purujit. Why don't we go with him? Because he's rewritten the Gita. Oh, he's a good devotee. Okay, fine, he can be a devotee. How potent is he? If there's any ounce of compromise in his presentation. For me, no thank you, goodbye. And for our group, no thank you. If you look at the invitation that we have, Nilesh, at the beginning of the class. What does it say? No ISKCON devotees welcome here, none of their disciples, no members of the Gaudiya Math, and none of their followers. Period. And if you want to come to the program, if you want to be a part of this, then you get a hold of us and we can have a talk, a discussion, because we're open for discussion, absolutely, and for clarification. But if there's any confusion, it's in them. It's not in us. And our movement, this movement, we have hundreds and hundreds. We have over 300 classes. We have almost 100,000 views. We have a site on Prabhupada Disciples Association, has 22,000 members. We are producing, we're working, and we're moving very close to finding a printer now that can help us reproduce the Bhagavatams. We're working on printing books in Italian with our Vijaya Pandit, with Bhakti Jad in France. We're working on books in Mexico. And we are progressively working to reestablish this movement, our group, Prabhu, not another group. If someone doesn't want to join us, like most people don't come to the class. Why don't they come? Because they choose not to. They can give their own class if they want. They're entitled to that. But there is a difference between us and them. There is. And if people want to talk about the differences, they can call us personally. I put my name up all the time and my private phone number. I put my private phone number up. We're open for open discussion and dialogue with any of these people. But there is a difference between us and them. We're not all the one thing. Just to be clear. Now you may say, well, that's a bit radical. We are radical. We are radical. And we are strict. And there is one way, this way, period. I don't care about it. It's a very unfortunate situation that this movement has evolved to. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, if you could further comment.
Well, this is a very important point, because what we have here is a schism that has been created by the very people that were supposed to prevent it from happening in the first place. The people that were delegated and appointed by Srila Prabhupada to manage the affairs of this movement, they're the very people that have introduced nonsensical ideas, unauthorized philosophy, concocted ideas on Guru Tattva, and so many other nonsense behaviors. Now, the point is about Jayananda. Thank you for your comment, Vishwakarma. It was very well taken. And we appreciate comment from everybody. We like discussion. The point is, the life of Jayananda was a very good example of a pure devotee in our midst. Because the question comes up sometimes, where are there any examples of a devotee during the manifested presence of Srila Prabhupada, whom Prabhupada confirmed went back to Godhead? Well, there's a few. Some of you may know one of Prabhupada's servants named Kartikeya. In 1970, he was one of Prabhupada's personal servants. When his mother died, this is actually documented, his mother asked Kartikeya, where is your Krishna? Is Krishna here now? When Prabhupada heard that story, he says, just see, she got liberated by thinking of Krishna at the time of death. In the case of Jayananda, Prabhupada confirmed that he went back to Godhead because he was listening to the Maha Mantra. Prabhupada chanting the Maha Mantra, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra at the time of his departure. So, he's a very exalted soul. One thing I want to clarify, and I don't want to offend anybody's feelings or sentiments, or much less that very nice devotee Vishok Prabhu, whom I knew in Badger, California, a very exalted soul, him and his wife Preeta. He wrote these beautiful books about Jayananda, but Prabhupada never used that term, Jayananda Thakur. We should be very careful about introducing terminologies that were not used by Srila Prabhupada. And this is not meant as a disrespect or slight on Jayananda's character. That is not. The word Prabhu is considered very exalted. There are many acharyas in our sampradaya who have the title Prabhu. Baladi Vidyabhushana Prabhu and other. Prabhu is a respectful title. Now, having said all of that, what was special about Jayananda is his service attitude and his surrender, which was unsurpassed. We didn't quite realize how exalted this person was until Srila Prabhupada confirmed in the beginning of May 1977 in Vrindavan that Jayananda went back to Godhead. Another devotee, Sudama Maharaj, the African-American devotee, who was told by Srila Prabhupada when he volunteered to go to Japan to start the Krishna Consciousness movement there, Prabhupada, for you volunteering to go to Japan, at the time of death, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will personally come and take you back to Godhead. Mm-hmm. So he also departed his body in Los Angeles in 1994 in January. He was chanting, he had Ganges water, sandalwood on his head. He had a very exalted departure as predicted by Srila Prabhupada. So let's leave it at that for now. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you. This was a very good point that Nilesh brought up, and we do thank you for that point. There is quite a bit of discussion that can be evolved from those points of working together. Yes, how do you work together? What is a team? What is team building? A common purpose like that. And, that is our goal. Really, we would like to work with people in spreading the mission according to Prabhupada's instructions, but that has to be carefully studied. Now, one of our members interestingly asked me, well, Prabhupada had told, never leave ISKCON, always stay within the movement. Well, the point that we're making is that ISKCON has left us. We did not leave them. And the reason it left is because certain people took over that organization and manipulated it due to self-promotion for their own purposes. It's not that we left them, they left us. And we know the situation is completely outrageous. For example, in my case, I had to work with Keith Ham. Now, was I supposed to stay in a movement where the fellow was a pedophile? That he was a homosex? That he was self-engrossed in becoming the next Acharya for the movement? Was I supposed to stay with that? Would you? No. We don't stay with people like that. That is not Prabhupada's movement. And this alliance or allegiance based on this quote, oh, well, never leave ISKCON. That's what Gopal Krishna used. Oh, never leave ISKCON. This is based on the principles that they're following the instructions of the spiritual master according to his books, his letters, and other instructions. For example, Nilesh, if you read the letter to Rupanuga in 1974, and I had a chance to read it recently, again with Yaśodā-nandana, it definitively tells us, do not associate with my godbrothers. Do not. And what did they do? Immediately when Prabhupada left, the so-called leaders went to Sridhar, got direction from him on how to carry on with the mission, and then introduced it into the ISKCON movement, and now look what's happened. Look what's happened. What happened when Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada left the movement? He did not appoint an Acharya. He didn't. Is it that Prabhupada is going to change everything according to his own point of view? No, he was following along exactly in the footsteps of his guru. And he told us, Do not associate with my godbrothers. Now people debate us on that. Well, anybody that, like a Jadharani or a Bhagavat. No. And as far as I'm concerned, from direct experience with them, they're in Maya, complete Maya, illusion. And this activity that they're doing is Gorora Vagya, disobeying the order of the spiritual master. Do they interpret it to be a certain way? Yes, they do. Do they have an opinion? Yes, they do. Is it right? Well, not according to Prabhupada's direction and their interpretation of them. Bhagavat said to me, this Bhagavat fellow, he says to me, I was a friend of his, a good friend of his from the movement, and I spent 4 or 5 months talking to him privately. And when I told him about the letter I received from Srila Prabhupada in terms of not dealing with his godbrothers, I was told specifically in writing, you know what he told me, Nilesh? He said to me, that order is just for you. Now, I'm not that stupid. It wasn't, I can't read English. It's very simple. Prabhupada told us, do not, in writing, multiple times, do not, because these are form breakers, not form makers. Now, if people want to follow that, that's okay. They have that right. But our mission is not like that. Nilesh, maybe you'd like to further comment, please.
You know, it's interesting you talk about so many points.
Yes.
And it makes complete sense. Is that, remember, ISKCON is where Srila Prabhupada is the center's Diksha and Shiksha Guru.
Yes.
So the moment you remove the center figure, what is the purpose of ISKCON? You may call yourself ISKCON, but you're not ISKCON. So
Exactly.
you have not left ISKCON. You have continued with ISKCON. This has to be very clear. So let's not go by the rubber stamp or by the one who owns the copyright on the word ISKCON. You see?
Yes.
The principle is what is important. Remember what Prabhupada says, it's the principle which is there. You see, just like he gives the example that how can a spiritual master be with all his disciples everywhere? Just like
Yes.
how a television commentator or a person who's on a video or on YouTube can present himself to multiple people, it is through the principle. So the idea is, ISKCON is where you put Srila Prabhupada is in the center as both the Shiksha and Diksha Guru, and that is what is ISKCON, not anything else. You see, so you can call yourself ISKCON because in legal terminology, you own it, you have the rights over it. Yeah, you can pound as much as you want, but you will be there with it as long as your physical body is there, and then you will be born again in the material world, God knows as what, because you have not followed the principle. Why did Prabhupada tell us not to follow the Gaudiya Math? South Florida is teeming with Gaudiya Math people now. You know, the reason is, again, you don't want to associate with people who are not following the spiritual master's orders. Simple. This is a big contamination for us, especially us sadhakas who are struggling to fight with Maya. Then we surround ourselves with impure people who have not followed their spiritual masters, and now their disciples are coming down. So how does that become authentic? You know, that is my question, is that the first part, you left ISKCON, why? Oh, because of the whatever reasons, the fake gurus or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Now you're going to Gaudiya Math, which is also full of fake gurus. So what are you really doing? So the question comes back to is the what you call the shloka in the Bhagavad-gītā, which we were talking about, is where 15:15, where he talks very clearly about the remembrance and forgetfulness. You see, sarvasya chaham riddhi sanivishtu mata smriti jnanam apohanam cha. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. So when we say that you need a little bit of intelligence, why does people not understand it? Because they need a little intelligence. And why don't they see it? Because they have been not blessed with this clarity of thoughts. And that is why we need to be very critical, very straight, and no kind of politics or no kind of compromises. Life, Krishna consciousness is black and white. It is not gray. It is
That's
black
right.
and white. And so whether you accept it or you don't accept it, there is no in-betweens over here. And the moment you start the in-betweens means material contamination is creeping in. Hare Krishna.
It's very interesting to know, and thank you. I'm glad we're having this discussion for everyone. It's very interesting to note that in the so-called regime of the ISKCON group, they have already segregated themselves. So it's not that, like people, like someone made a comment, well, never leave ISKCON, like Gopal used it. So all of a sudden, now their so-called leaders are all segregated, sectarian. Krishna Life, Krishna West, there's the Bhakti Yoga organization. All these groups are all separate. And if you look at the corporate structure of them, it is for them to protect their own assets. Remember, corporations are created for groups like ours, like for groups to operate within the rules and regulations of the local governments. So the rules and regulations are different in America to Russia, to India, like that. There are all kinds of different rules, but the rule is that every organization has to register separately. So now these so-called people that went away, they have all of their own organizations, but they pretend to represent ISKCON. They use that banner. But when you look at the corporate organization, it's not ISKCON at all. It's their organization. And this hypocrisy is going on. And then people are wondering, well, what are you saying? Well, we're telling people we can see through this veil. That's what it's called, a corporate veil. And it's the truth we're interested in, not the corporation. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu.
Great.
Microphone.
I think we're hitting on some very important points here. And I want to point out that in the Chaitanya Charitamrita and the Madhya Lila, Prabhupada does say, if one thinks there are many non-devotees or pseudo-devotees in the Krishna consciousness movement, one can associate directly with the spiritual master. Now, Prabhupada was quite aware that when he came to America, that he was preaching to various people that were absorbed in the mode of passion and ignorance. Most people born in Mleccha and Yavana families are born in, Asura families, basically. But Srila Prabhupada, out of his compassion, came to the West, took that risk, and brought the movement, brought the philosophy of the Bhagavad Dharma, Sanatana Dharma, the pure teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and introduced it. And gradually, he tried to correct his disciples, teach his disciples, to engage them in the service of Lord Chaitanya. And if you notice, if anybody has taken the time to study Srila Prabhupada's letters, the other day I had the chance to spend a couple hours about Prabhupada's instruction on the Bhagavatam publishing. From 1970 especially, Prabhupada was begging his leaders, please manage the society so that I can finish the Srimad Bhagavatam. This is very important work. I have to concentrate. Please manage properly. He was still making the same request as of 1977. It was like a constant fight to be given the assistance and the energy. But because Prabhupada could see there was a problem. Again, the same problem with discussing, with people being ambitious, people wanting big positions, people wanting big titles, people wanting control. But this is not spiritual life. Prabhupada gave all instructions in his book, just like that purport in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Incidentally, let me relate an incident. When we came back from Coimbatore in South India and Tamil Nadu in 1972 after a preaching tour, and we asked, and Prabhupada said, well, what is your program out there? What do you do in the morning? He said, well, we get up 3:30, 3:45, take a cold bath and put the tilak and Mangal Artik, and we have a Tulsi, and then we do Japa, Bhagavatam class, Jai Radhamadeva. And then Prabhupada said, and we told Prabhupada, there's no ISKCON center down there. And Prabhupada says, no, that is ISKCON. Wherever you chant, read my books and follow the instruction, that is ISKCON. I just sent an email to various people on this call here to basically explaining from Yamuna Devi Dasi, the celebrated devotee, with the same principle. She approached Prabhupada also with the same point that, we don't have an ISKCON center. And Prabhupada says, wherever you chant, wherever you offer your bhoga to Krishna, wherever you read Bhagavatam, that is ISKCON. Now, this false idea that some people have, that they have the monopoly on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement, they have the copyright, and you can't use the Maha Mantra. Incidentally, today is also the disappearance of Gauridas Pandit. In 1992, there was an attempt to take him to court for placing a plaque on his front of his building called Hare Krishna Center. And the lawyers for ISKCON said, oh, you can't use that, it's copyrighted. And somebody sent him that letter from Dinesh, which I just sent, where Prabhupada says, you cannot copyright the Maha Mantra. It's like nobody can copyright the term Jesus or Jesus Christ or Muhammad, because some people have a mindset of materialistic possessiveness. Nonsense. It is simply nonsense. They've never understood the philosophy from day one. 46 years later, they still do not understand the philosophy. They still do not understand. That's why they're behaving that way, claiming monopoly. Incidentally, I just posted on the chat a couple of quotes. There's one of them where Prabhupada talks about people claiming monopoly. Prabhupada says, others may make a show of devotional service like the Prakrita Sahajiyas, or one may try to support this philosophy by joining some caste or identifying himself with a certain dynasty, claiming a monopoly on spiritual advancement. Here your voting system. Mr. ISKCON GBC, here's your voting system prohibited by Srila Prabhupada. Your election system, your self-appointment system, all nonsense. Simply nonsense, authorized apasiddhanta. Thank you very much. If you ever want to debate, we have a few people that be willing to take your whole history and have a whole review and see how long you last in a so-called debate. Thank you very much, to whom it may concern.
Thank you, everyone, for participating today in what I would consider a very interesting discussion on very important matters in terms of working together. And thank you again, all of you, for your attention and participation. And I want to remind everyone, we are going to be having an initiation ceremony in Mexico. This is coming up in February, and there should be 300 to 500 devotees there in a grand celebration with the Hare Krishna Society, Prabhupada Disciples Association. And if you know anyone that's interested in initiation, if you know anyone that's, yes, we will give the details when they come out, but if you know anyone that's interested in getting initiated as a Prabhupada disciple, we're more than interested in speaking to them and talking to them and getting to know them and understanding, the mentality of the person and his seriousness, to make a commitment to Srila Prabhupada and then move ahead with the initiation with them accordingly. And this will be very good. So it looks like there'll be about 7 or 8 people taking initiation at this festival. So if you want to be added to the list, let us know, and then we can move forward with that. Thank you, everyone. All
What is the
glories to Srila
prerequisite? What is the prerequisite for initiations? What is Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu and yourself looking in the potential disciple?
Well, first of all, they have to be recommended by a local person. So like we have For example, in Mexico, Krishna Kishore there is running a particular program, and we've had a chance to interview him, and he has people that he wants to recommend for initiation. So he has to send the names, and then we'll review them. Chant your rounds is basically the same requirements that were always there, Nilesh, back in the 70s. Chant your rounds, follow the 4 regulative principles. Offer your food, accept Prabhupada as the Diksha Guru, your Diksha Guru, without confusion. Study his books. And attend the classes here with our group, because that's a very positive way to feel the relationship developing through association. That's basically it. It's not a complicated matter. It's basically the same as when I was acting as president in the ISKCON group during Prabhupada's time with us, when he was personally with us anyway. I would send a letter, recommend, and Prabhupada would send back the approval. So he was depending on our review, our qualifying them, and then he would carry on with the sending of the name and the beads. So trying to keep it exactly the way he wanted us to from then and now. So that's simple. If there's more questions, people should call us up and we can discuss it personally with them. Either myself or Yaśodā is fine. You can have a talk with us, and then we can share it with our group. We have a small group of membership, and we pass the names around just to see if there's any problem or whatever. If there's not, then move ahead. Let's go ahead. Let's become stronger with numbers. I always say this, Nilesh. 2 is better than 1, 3 is better than 2, 4 is better than 3, 5 is better than 4. Like that. It's like the more the merrier. It's just a question of qualification. And we're more than receptive to bringing people to this platform of formal initiation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to the Sankirtan mission. Please call me, Nilesh, if you have any questions. Be happy to speak with you. Thank you. And thank you very much. I agree with you, Yaśodā. Nilesh always adds a nice spark of energy to the discussions. He's very good. Haribol. Okay, we'll move forward with the chanting of Hare Krishna, with Prabhupada playing the bongo, and then we'll have the closing out section of our program where you can see all the centers, the branch offices that we have, the members that have donated, etc., etc. Haribol.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Let us offer our respectful obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Thanks, everybody, for participating in this program. Thanks, Rupesh Prabhu in Bombay, India. Thanks, Nilesh Prabhu, our good friend in Italy, Vijay Pandit Prabhu, and everybody who participated, especially Krishna Katha Prabhu in his wonderful efforts to try to scan and republish the original 1962 Bhagavatam. Vishwakarma Prabhu in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Bhakta Joe Felici and his good wife, Karen Felici, and their wonderful discovery of that little very nice clip from YouTube where Prabhupada summarizes the real purpose of the Bhagavad-gītā. Thanks, everybody. We hope to see you tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock for the Srimad Bhagavatam reading at 7 o'clock a.m. Pacific Standard Time, corresponding to 10 o'clock for Florida time and 10 o'clock a.m. Hamilton, Ontario time. I hope everybody is well. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Hare Krishna. Grazie.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.